2023 Town Council, Culver Town Council meeting to order, please. As a reminder, this meeting is being recorded and your participation is your consent to be recorded and rebroadcast on the town's YouTube channel. If you have any type of electronic device now, you either would appreciate it if you'd either turn it off or mute it. Thank you. Roll call. Present. Here.
Bill Ham.
Here.
Sally Ricciardi.
Here.
Rich Pass.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes of the October 24th, 2023 regular meeting. I have a motion to approve the minutes. It's been moved by Mr. Ham. Do I have a second? Second. Second by Mr. Githens. Any discussion or corrections? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Next is the approval of the October financial report. Has everybody had a chance to review that? Any questions or motion to approve the October financial report, please? So moved. It's been moved by Mr. Githens. Do I have a second? Second. Second by Mr. Ham. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Approved. Okay, next on the agenda is third reading of ordinance 2023-018. An ordinance of the town of Culver, Indiana, designated an area within the town as an economic development target area. I'll just read the first whereas. Whereas the town of Culver and Indiana Economic Development Commission has recommended the town council designate the area described in Exhibit A, the Dunes residential area, hereto as an economic development target area pursuant to IC 6-1.112.17 as amended. Have any discussion or comment on the ordinance 2023-018? It's been moved by Mr. West. Do I have a second? Second. Second by Mr. Shardy. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Karen, do you want to? No, do you want to suspend the rules?
No, that was third reading.
Third reading.
That was third reading.
Oh, that's what's third read. I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is second read of ordinance 2023-019. Ordinance regulating the use of golf carts within the corporate limits of the town of Culver. This is an ordinance amending and restating ordinance 2021-008, 2021-006, 2018-017, and 2007-009, regulating the use of golf carts within the corporate limits of town. I won't go through all the whereases on this. In discussion, council?
That basically is to raise the rate to $100.
Nope.
No.
The use of golf carts, it's the.
It
is.
It is.
It is the rate.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
fee.
Yeah, it is.
And
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Permit fee is no.
Yeah, permit, right, right.
I still, against raising it that high, I would go $10, but I don't think 40 is appropriate.
I make a motion that we approve it on second reading.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Githens. Second by Mr. West to approve on second read. Sally, you mentioned,
Yeah, I'm not in favor of raising it that high.
okay,
Like I said, I'd go maybe $10, but I don't see that it's appropriate to raise it.
all right, we'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same by a sign of nay,
Nay.
4-1.
Your third reading will be at the end of the month.
Right. Next is the public hearing ordinance 2023-020.
2023. 20.
I have
Second.
Mr. West moved to open the public hearing. I have 6:35. Mr. Githens seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Public hearing's open. This is an ordinance revising, amending, and restating the comprehensive zoning ordinance of the town of Culver, Indiana, and contiguous incorporated territory under the jurisdiction of the Culver Plan Commission, containing regulations, requirements, and providing therefore administration, enforcement, and amendment there is. Whereas the town council of Culver, Indiana deems it necessary that the zoning ordinance of the town of Culver approved and passed as local ordinance 2010-007 and subsequent amendments be revised and amended. And I won't go through all of the whereas. Everybody I think has a copy of this. Any comment? Pardon?
There are copies of the rates.
Yeah.
The proposed rates being distributed.
And just for clarification, that is the supposed difference in the zoning ordinance is the rate changes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Steve, do you have a comment you want to make before public?
Just the building permit rates and the application rates for BCA and Plan Commission are adjusted to reflect the actual cost of Culver's, Culver to process those.
Some of the fees went up, some of the fees went down.
That's correct.
The new fee schedule is as of January 1, 2024.
Yes, sir. Yes, it would be.
And that's when Plymouth goes into effect, Marshall counties.
Marshall County's goes into effect January 1st.
Okay.
Any comments from the public?
I'll make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Anything
By
online?
Oh, wait,
Mr.
online, I'm
Githens,
sorry.
opposed to public hearing. Anyone online? Moved by Mr. Githens to close the public hearing. A second by Mr. West. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, council. I have a motion to approve on first read.
So moved.
It's been moved by Mr. Githens, seconded by Mr. West. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ordinance approved on first read.
I make a motion, we suspend the rules, approve it on second and third reading.
Mr. Githens has made a motion to suspend the
You
rules.
don't think we should, Jim?
A lot of times when we're increasing or decreasing fees, I would like to have the additional time for people to know about
No,
it.
no.
But in this case, they're up and down and not that big a deal and nobody seems to be too excited about it. So no problem.
That's the only reason I went with that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would acquiesce. And if you say wait 2 weeks, I'll wait 2 weeks.
No, I think you're probably correct. I don't think it's that big a deal.
It's been moved by Mr. Githens to suspend the rules for second and third read. There's a second. Seconded by Mr. Ham. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Approved on third read.
That folks bend the rule and approve.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was-
yeah.
Right, okay.
right. Okay,
Then approve on second and third reading.
Right.
next on the agenda is Culver Community Schools request to vacate an alley.
I received an email from Karen Schuman, on the Beacon, GIS. There's a chunk of, basically the playground just north of the school, the elementary school building that appears as an alleyway and is still deeded to the town. I think there were, a long time ago, there were houses there and that was an actual alley. It just never was switched over. And she's requesting that we vacate it. We did a little bit of research and didn't find anywhere where that had taken place. And figured it would probably be just as easy just to bring it to you and, let you decide to vacate or not.
I think we vacated Summit Street, which was part of that approximately 12 years ago. And I thought at that time that it didn't go through. But I mean, the
Oh,
The
the.
street-
The alley does not go through, yeah.
Yeah.
About the,
well, it certainly doesn't now because we vacated the other half of it.
Vacating it sufficient, is that then entitle it to the school?
You said there were some hoops we might have to go through or.
well, just as far as I mean, obviously.
Yeah, you need to pass an ordinance, and the school owns on both sides of the alley,
Yes.
Correct. Norm.
Yes.
so it would go back to them. And Steve, you're aware of all this?
I was aware of it today.
Okay,
Well, I take that back. I think talked to, Beck Williams. We emailed back and forth a little bit last week and then we did today.
okay, well, but it does require an ordinance, and usually it's set up for public hearing, just because you're vacating it the public way. So,
So we make a motion tonight to move forward to vacate the alley. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, and, yeah,
Go through the
get an
necessary
ordinance created
steps.
and set a public hearing for coming up.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
It's moved by Mr. Githens, seconded by Mr. West. I'm sorry, Bill, what was the motion again?
To press forward and go through the necessary steps to get
Oh,
the
okay.
vacated and back in the hands of the school corporation.
All right, thank you. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Are you gonna do the ordinance?
Kevin?
So we'll see that sometime in November, not December probably,
It'll probably be late.
or maybe in the first year. I mean, I don't know
Yeah,
how,
and they're not.
what's her
in a
time
hurry.
frame? She doesn't.
I don't know that they have anything planned, but she had just asked me to research it and, so, yeah, I mean, we could probably wait until after the first of the year and it just,
That's fine.
I'll see when I can get a public hearing scheduled, basically, because of the advertising.
That's fine.
Kevin, the Dunes report, please.
I'm gonna.
We got town marshal overtime.
Oh, I'm
I was
sorry.
gonna introduce that idea that, we're at the time of the month where we're gonna renew. Wayne's got applications in the process of doing interviews. I'm promising and working through it, but right now we're gonna have to renew for another month on the overtime. The officers.
Need a motion for that?
I do, yes, sir.
I make a motion that we extend the town marshal overtime for another month.
Second.
Mr. Githens made the motion to extend the overtime for another month, seconded by Mr. West. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Thank you, Bill.
Sure. Now we're in the Dunes update for the last 2 weeks. We're continuing our conversations with the developer, working towards a responsible and beneficial development agreement. Moving forward, we are going to pause on the current planning schedule that's been published. We're going to update people through the website as we have new developments, but we're going to hold back on the EDC, CRC, and some planning commission town council action until we get a finalization of the agreement. So we will keep an update going online, and we continue I had a phone call with Maycog on the traffic study. They are supposed to get me some finalized reports coming in, hopefully next week, as early as next week. I'm gonna sit with Marty. Their preliminary numbers, it's difficult. I talked to them on the phone, and trying to find Culver traffic is difficult because when we look at it in November, it's going to be different than July. And so I'm trying to get them to account for that. The other thing I asked them to account for are two specific intersections in terms of access to 17. That would be the one at Ohio and Mill. Anticipating traffic moving north out of the Dunes development would access 17 that way to go to Plymouth, or even down at Jefferson Street. We're also asked them to take a look at West Shore where it meets at Tamarack and breaks off of South Main. So those are specific areas of study.
Since the exits from the Dunes complex are on the Main Street, why would you, I mean, I know Ohio was a jog there, but wouldn't we prefer to keep traffic directed on Main Street to Mill?
We could, but I'm just anticipating, I want to know what Ohio looks like. Because we don't actually, when I was talking with them, I don't have numbers for Ohio.
Ohio gets busy with road traffic.
It can, so that's what I want to find out. And if they don't have the numbers, I want to know that as well. So that, but nothing in terms of a report yet, just a preliminary conversation and hopefully looking at something next week.
So do they have car counts
They do. They had
for all
some,
these?
I'm sorry, did they give them to me yet? No, but they can't.
Do they have?
They're going back looking historically to see what studies they've done here. Well, I don't have the answer.
Oh, okay.
Because I asked them
key.
just during, I agree. And I just asked them to take a look at that. So to be fair to them, they didn't have time to prep. So. They were
Because they haven't
probably
had, they didn't do any studies during the summer.
not to my knowledge, but I
So that ought to just, I hate to say it, slow things down a little because it's
it could. And that's what I asked them, Bill. I want to know when's the most latest summer.
most recent, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, recent. Thank you.
I understand.
Could I take a look at the analytics on that?
When I get them, I'm going to share them out to everybody
Okay.
on our website.
Because I've done traffic studies before.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate the opinion. All right. That's our Dunes update, where we're at.
Thanks.
Sorry.
Mind if I ask? I meant to call you on this thing.
Yeah, that's
Have
okay.
you heard anything from the Tim House, the landowner?
I've not been contacted by them.
And just as an update, we need an easement along the west side of Main Street for sewer and water lines. And I have been, thanks to all of you folks' help, I guess, in touch with the landowner that has the piece just south of the Dunes and just north of Howard's driveway thing.
Right.
And we've had some discussions about that. And I'm hopeful we can get that done with by agreement and maybe not too expensive, so find out. But I am gonna have to get probably an appraisal on the pieces that we can't get an agreement on, so.
How much land is involved there, do you know? Roughly?
45 foot wide from basically the east side of Main Street across those properties.
It's about where those telephone.
And it
poles are west.
runs about 500 feet
Mhm. Right in there.
from West Shore Drive or the southward up to where
Okay.
it stops.
Thank you.
That's the Dunes update.
All right.
Going right into the manager's report. Bob Porter, Karen and I attended the community crossing down at Wabash for the award ceremony and had received a giant check for $203,452.50. Which I just had to bring this. Not to show.
Giant.
Oh,
Figuratively
wonderful.
and
All right.
figuratively.
Tried to sign it, they won't cash it, so beautiful thing. So Bob and I are talking, moving forward and looking to allocate those monies. I also had R&R Visual out of Rochester come down, do a camera scope down Main Street, a storm drain that's located heading back north towards Jefferson from Madison. We also did the alley and back of the businesses from Madison up to Jefferson to make sure that the integrity of that storm pipe is in place. The film showed that we have a solid pipe down there, no blockage, and the water is flowing. We also discovered that we blocked a manhole cover, but we also have access to it up on Jefferson Street. So we located the entry point to that. The reason for that scoping was done because of some water sitting in the basement on the on the west side of the road from some of the businesses. So we're trying to find that source, and I'm working with a couple of the owners and continue to work on it until we find something. But we found out what it wasn't through that. So that was good. A personal note, I want to add, I was honored to be Culver Community's guest speaker during Veterans Day, speaking on the topic of freedom. I met some wonderful people while I was there, and the kids are always really nice. It was a good time, and they did a wonderful job on the presentation. There's still some good stuff going on. We're also meeting with Culver Communities. I have 8 students that I'm meeting with, ranging from freshman to senior. We'll have that first meeting on the 27th, and we'll do that once a month. Moving forward, the 2 topics that I'm asking them to discuss with me and to get feedback from their fellow students is what are some community projects that they feel are important that they can help our community to tie them in. And the second thing is I want to know from them, how can we develop a system in which we can communicate with them in terms of their questions and insights and ideas, some way of collecting those on a more regular basis. The goal behind this is to connect them to the community and to also provide opportunities for community service that are meaningful to them for their college recs, right? And all that good stuff, but also civic responsibility. So we'll be working with them.
Appreciate your initiative.
Yeah, it comes really natural. I like working with them. And so, and I've met some really good kids over there. So
Tell when you talk about it.
yeah, I get a little excited. So that's my update for this week. Thank you.
Department heads report, EMS. Anyone online from EMS? Okay. Fire, Terry?
I got 2 things. One thing is, as ordinance 2015-00-14 for false alarms to businesses and placing for houses, after 3 calls, there's a fee. 4th call, there's a fee, and every fee for every call after that, that's a false alarm. We've been plagued with them again, as this came up a few years ago from school and the nursing home. Nursing home has 9 at this point right now. So we're talking in the thousands of dollars that we'll be billing them for.
Rich.
Are these for full stations, Terry?
No,
Yes.
they're automatic alarms through their detectors go off automatically. They go to the county calls us. There's actually been 2 of those calls that we got stopped before it got started, which is good for them, but usually they don't get it stopped in time to Karen brings up the ordinance to look at what to do. And a lot of these have happened for the nursing home, like in the last week. I've been to talk to the administrator and told him what's going on, and we can't keep doing this. Something has to change. He said they're working on it, but the ordinance still says what it is. So I believe Karen's going to be working up a bill for them to pass that out to those 2 places in town. So I'm sure they'll be in here and talk to you.
Is this school redoing any of their alarm systems?
They did in the summertime,
That's what I
but
thought.
every time that they did, I was on the phone with the people that were working with those alarms. So every time that happened, it was automatically a dead thing. So the ones that are going off were not from them working on the school. The ones that are going off are, I don't know what they were going to pop on. I don't know. Usually the time we get there, they say, oh, turn around. Well, damage is done. So
So I think they're having some kind of panel problem.
they
Usually,
should use
we
here.
did there and disregard everybody.
And the second thing I'd like to bring up is the last meeting I brought up a 16-foot trailer, but I'd like to approach you about it. Nothing's really changed on the situation. They didn't lower the price, but I'd like to have some backing on it. It's a $12,000 trailer that we're buying for $8,000 that we're putting money into, or our guys are that are volunteers that have worked to train, to become divers, to raise money, to donate, and all this funds go back to the town as a donation. So I'd like to,
What's the request on the town?
8,000.
The town's portion is 8,000.
And that's in your budget, from what I understand.
Yeah.
It is in budget.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd make a motion that we approve the purchase of the trailer for the fire department dive team in the amount of $8,000.
Mr. West made the motion to approve the purchase for $8,000. Mr. Ham seconded. Any further discussion, council? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Wayne,
I really don't have much, evident application process.
All the cars are being decaled or?
Yeah, detail.
Yeah, they're all are detailed, but yeah, outfitted. and everything.
Yeah. Equipment, yeah.
I called him today, but I didn't get to talk to him.
anything else? Okay, thank you, Wayne. Park,
I just have a quote that I'm looking for approval from FH Decks and Landscaping for $5,200 for the installation of the park holiday lights.
Neighbors, just for the record, your email indicated you solicited another quote from Sellers Services, which was
The other one was for $6,882.94.
I would make a motion that we approve the contract for F&H Landscape and Decks to install the holiday lights in the park. Install and remove the holiday lights in the park.
He's at one bill for both.
Install and removal, yeah,
Yeah. For a total of 5,200.
correct.
I'll say.
moved by us. Yes, sir.
Just, Tom Uhas, point of order. Who owns the lights? Did Sellers keep them or does the town have them?
We own them,
We own them.
And we have possession?
yes.
Thank
Yep. Lights, wreaths, garland, climbers, extension cords on there.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ham. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Pose same sign. Thank you. Anything else, Amber?
We just have our turkey trot and yoga event. That'll be Thanksgiving morning. Free will donations for the Culver Food Pantry. We usually have a good show out, so if you want to get your exercise in before some turkey, please join us. Other than that, we're just gearing up for our Culver Park holiday event, which will be Friday, December 1st. In case you haven't noticed, we have a new tree, a new pine tree out there that will be lighting up this year. We replaced it. It looks a lot better. It's a little guy, but it'll soon grow and be much more beautiful than what was there prior. So please come out for the tree lighting of the new tree, and you might even get to hear Kevin speak as our community speaker for this year.
I thought you were going to say sting. I was saying.
That was fun. That was a presentation.
That's great.
Anything else, Amber?
No, that's all.
Utilities, Bob, are you on?
I'm on. I have nothing for you.
Thank you. Steve?
I don't have anything.
All right, thank you. Karen, clerk's report, please.
Claims over $2,500 for your approval. Miller Insurance for $2,512, and that's for the insurance on the 2 squad cars. Edge Mechanical Services, $3,875.73, and that's for repairs at the park. And $11,790 for North Shore Fabrication, and that is for peer removal.
And we approve the claims over $2,500.
Second.
Mr. West made the motion. I'm going to give Mr. Githens a second on this one. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
The longevity was paid out to the full-time employees, and I just wanted to say that for the 15 full-time employees that were paid, we have 16 full-time. There's 153 years of service. So, Thought that would be an interesting. thing to share.
Thankfully, not by any one person.
Yeah, no, I think,
How many are waiting?
yeah.
There's one large one.
Julie and I are, we have a trainer in this week, to train us on the new utility billing software. So if you come in the office and you see 3 people kind of standing around, we are working, we're training, so. But we're also trying to take payments and keep the office running. We appreciate Kevin taking care of the phones. And the final thing I have, board and commission appointments. We've got a number of appointees expiring or terms expiring at the end of the year. So I will get a list together, communicate with the people whose terms are expiring. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Karen. Attorney's report.
I don't really have anything more to add. I've been just working with Kevin and the crew and the Dunes thing and continue to do that. And we do have a collection coming up for the clerk. It's the delinquent water payer, 1st of December. So other than that, that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Utility shut off. Anyone in the room for utility shut off or ordinance violation? Anyone online? Hearing none. Citizen input. Anyone in the room, citizen input?
I just want to voice my opinion. I'm very sad to hear about the second reading going through on the golf cart increase. I'm sad for all the owners of the golf carts because I see them all daily when we're in business, but especially for our small business. I keep hearing about we're wanting to support small businesses in our town. There's not a whole lot of us that actually have a brick and mortar place that we're spending a lot of money to have here. And every dollar you pull in fees from us is really a dollar that you're taking from the community. We do our best to donate absolutely as much as we can. We support the Culver Youth Club. We support schools, the school sporting events, the school youth clubs, individual youth growth opportunities. We've had individuals come to us that we support. The police department when they're doing the pre-prom driving awareness events, Lake Fest, church events, other nonprofits for parades here in town. I just have to express that. I just have to express that we are really committed to helping this town, and it feels like a little bit of a punch in the gut, taking such an increase. We have to compete with outside sources that also bring golf carts to rent into this town. We work very, very hard to educate all of our renters, sign paperwork, signs in our shop, tags literally laminated stuff on every one of our rental carts to make sure they understand all the rules to our town. Every worker physically reads all the rules out to every one of our renters, which I know doesn't always happen with other situations. So I'm just disappointed. I think we're collecting the money on the wrong side of this. I think instead of charging the people who are abusing and violating the ordinance, we're allowing them to get away with it constantly and instead penalizing those who are doing their best to try to abide by it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the room? No one online? Council issues. Rich? Bill? Nothing? Sally?
I do think that we need to set a date to have a discussion on the sewer and water rate increase.
Okay.
We've delayed that for almost a year, and it needs to happen.
Do you have a suggestion?
What's a good date?
I think when we talked about it earlier, because there's gonna be a turnover on the council. But the consensus was that we would wait till we had a new formed council. But yeah,
All
well, I
right.
participated in it before then, but I just,
Are the numbers still accurate at all, Karen?
They were updated at the beginning of the year.
Okay. So they probably need to be updated again.
Probably another investment of updating numbers.
Mhm.
So I can ask them to do so. If you want to set a date so that we have a target date of,
I think maybe what we need to do is set a target date for a meeting and then discuss what needs to be added into those figures so that we get an accurate accounting.
You do year-end, reporting for both water and sewer. And how soon after the end of the year do you have that done?
it depends on how bad the end of the year is.
I mean, you shouldn't expect it within a few days. I can see that, but I mean, is that a month or 60 days?
Yeah, I mean, I have to have it done for Gateway by the end of February, so, and I really try to get it done by the end of January.
Because I think Jeff would want
And
probably to see those numbers before, if he's gonna update, I mean.
Yeah. Well, I'm not against postponing it at this point till we get more accurate figures to submit to the accountant.
But you're talking about the sewers. Is the sewer system big enough to handle the dudes?
Oh, yeah.
To be specific, yeah, absolutely. Since they made a correction about 4 years ago from 2019 with the academy, they had some leakage. We're running at capacity. An average of 3 years, we're sitting at just around 46% full capacity. Anticipating the dunes at full staffing at 301 units maximum, you're looking at maybe 20% more capacity during July. So you're running probably 67 in July or heaviest month. It will be, it will, I mean, the capacity's there. Doesn't mean I want to ignore it. I want to account for that capacity because I always want to replace it. I don't want to just waste it. But thanks for the question.
I have nothing.
I have nothing.
Motion to adjourn. It's been moved by Mr. Griffin, second. Second by Mr. West. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.